Welcome back, new viewers and Gamer Bears. It is time for a new episode of Pokemon Biofun Stuff, and today we've got more Garchomp raids. So, I have my superior strategy from the last weekend right over here, and as usual, I'll go over it, so let us begin. Alright, so, superior base-type grass, Terra-type grass, with the ability Contrary, holding a Covert Cloak, max strength and special attack, and HP, but the modest nature. With the moves Loose Storm, Taunt, Leech Seed, and Giga Drain. And now Garchomp, base-type Dragon Ground, Terra-type Ground, with the ability Rough Skin. With the moves Earthquake, Breaking, Swipe, Raking Claw. I think I haven't seen it use that. Fire Fang, Poison Jab, and Sword Stance. It'll always start off with Breaking Swipe first turn, but we have the Converted Cloak. Which I think we should reset here, actually, because I need a Pokemon with Intimidate for this to work out. So I'm gonna reset real fast if y'all don't mind me, until we get an Intimidator. Hello, Aaron, how are you doing today? After I'm done with this video, I'd like to ask you something, if you do not mind me. Let's try this again. Alright, let's see if we get Intimidators this time. We need it. We need the Intimidators. Intimidators. And I know that you're doing fantastic. Alright, once again, Garchomp with its typing of Ground Dragon and its Terra type of Ground. Its ground type moves will be hitting pretty hard if you don't have something that resists it. And once again, no Intimidator. Well, shit. I'll just keep resetting until it happens. Yeah, do your Breaking Swipe, doesn't matter. The swipe that breaks the sky. Come on, give me an Intimidator. You can do it, game. Come on. Our Garchomp. There we go. Just one Intimidator is all we need. Alright, our attack power is now lowered. That makes things much easier for me. Intimidate's about to be real important for something I have planned later. Alright, thanks to our Cover Cloak, though, we don't have to worry about the attack drop. Not that it really matters, let's be honest. Even if I did get the attack drop, it would be an attack raise because of Contrarian. Alright, anyways, you start off the first turn with Leech Seed. Provided it hits, that is. Alright, there we go, it hit this time. Alright, and then we start off the next turn. Actually, the next turn with time. Alright, because it has Sword Stance and we don't want it to use that. Of course it crit me. Why did you crit me? Thank you for following him. Because we got his tournament later today at the time of me making this video. And I'd like to ask if you could help me do a few practice rounds before it, if that's okay. You can use whatever Pokemon you want. Alright, you know what? Let's heal it, because that, of course that crit happened. These crits. Why? You got scope ones up your ass, don't you? Also, thanks for the 5 video streak. Right, there we go, that's a little bit of damage we need. Alright, now Leech Seed, not Leech Seed, Leech Storm 3 times. If your HP does get a little too low, you can use Giga Drain in the middle. Saves Leech Storm PP, and you can get some good recovery out of it. Oh, come on with the crits. Stop critting me. 4.17% chance, by the way. They really need to make an item that prevents crits. They really need to do that. That just happens way too often. I hope someday they make an item like that, but let's keep going. And that was a bad heal. I might need to reset now. Alright, I guess we'll use Giga Drain this turn. And that's why we use Leech Seed, because that passive healing, even if you faint, is very useful. Alright, you still have the taunt on you. Of course you do. I used taunt on you, and for some reason you still got the Sword Stance off. Doesn't make any sense. I guess I'm resetting because double crit decided to get in my way. Again, 4.72% chance. More like 30% chance. How the hell did it happen twice like that? Off screen, I was doing some Garchomp raids too, and I got crit twice. Why? Just like I said during the Dragonite raids, dude's got a scope lens up his ass. But yeah, that's the reason we have Covered Cloak, is because Poison Jab has a 10 or 20% chance to poison, and you don't want to deal with that. And no Intimidator, reset. Actually, let's see how this goes. Toxapex could use Chilling Water. You know what I just realized? Do we... Oh, Settlements, never mind. I was about to say, I don't think we have any Dragon types with Intimidate, but we do. Reset. I need an Intimidator, it's just more useful. Did I get an Intimidator this time? No, but I did get a Life Dealer. I'm gonna reset once again. Hello, PS Man, how are you doing today? And yes, just alone to start off. As soon as I get an Intimidator, because the game... there we go. And now can you stop critting me, Garchomp? It's really annoying. It's like, there's no way you're getting that many crits back-to-back. That's bullshit. Good, crit the NPCs, not me. Alright, Leech Seed, do not miss. Alright, and taunts. I mean, Para's pretty good, that means I outspeed it. Give me some of that HP. Give me another Leaf Storm. Alright, last one. The next turn we Tera and Giga Drain. Give me a full HP and then Leaf Storm again next turn. Ah, 69 HP, nice. And then this turn he'll use Sword Stance. Anytime he gets rid of his stat drops. And even though I used Taunt, he was not supposed to get that off. Let me wait for the Arcanine to faint so it gets an Intimidate off. You can faint Arcanine, that'd be nice. Oh, Arcanine, do you want to faint yet? No defense cheer. Game's just waiting for me to move, isn't it? Oh, just barely survived. Alright, we're fine. Alright, now that the shield's broken, use time. Nice, got a crit. Alright, that's fine. Alright, we got the Glare Stare, here we are. And now use Taunt, so I can't use Sword Stance again. Alright, just keep using Leech Seeds again. That's it, Leech Seed, Leaf Storm. Haha, no Sword Stance for you. Alright, you should be at... Alright, +1, that's fine. There's a chance he could get fully parried as well. Yep, asking you shall receive. And here we go. Poison Jab, that's fine. Alright, you should be at -1 again, right? Alright, once again the Glare. You're at neutral, but since you were paralyzed, I had speed. Like a very good strat if you have the right support. He does have a scripted Earthquake around here, or scripted Fire Fang. We live that, that's fine. Thanks to our Perfect Click, we don't have to worry about poison or burn. Alright, one more Giga Drain just to be safe, and for accuracy purposes. Give me that delicious, nutritious HP. Nice, there we go. Now we're the ones getting the crits. Alright, and one last hit. Oh, the NPC's got the KO. I think either that or the disrespectful Leechy, but that's how you take down Garchomp with a superior. You just need a little bit of the right support and you're good. Now get out of my face. Alright, if everyone wants to do Union Circle, let's do a Union Circle. And I got tournament preparation to do as well, so we'll do all that. A bunch of Talon Flames with one stone. Have you ever thought of that, like the saying, two birds with one stone? Like, what would be the Pokemon version of that? Pretty much any flying type, right? Or any flying type weak to rock, more specifically. Since not every flying type's weak to rock, like, hey, look at Corviknight. Alright, let's reset the clock just so get another one of these to spawn. And then I'll make the Union Circle for every one. Now let's connect to the internet first, that is. Alright, let's form a group. And your code today is YM73TB. 3 terabytes. Awesome. That's how much storage I have on my PS4. Actually, excuse me, 73 terabits. Yeah, I don't have that much. Alright, everyone, take your time, take your time. Alright, if you don't want to join today, that's fine. So take it you don't want to help me with the tournament prep either? If you don't want to, that's alright. Just state so. I suppose if nobody's joining, then no need for a Union Circle. No, Burn Up is not a Fire-type version of Hyper Beam. It's a bit weaker than Hyper Beam, but has a different effect. The Fire-type version of Hyper Beam would be, what I'm gonna call it, would be Blast Burn. Burn Up's more its own thing. And very few Pokemon get it. It was a move introduced in, I believe, Generation 7. Only, like, Cantonian Arcanine could get it. Cantonian Moltres, and Jotonian Typhlosion. Funnily enough, long before any of their regional variants existed. You know what else? Forgot there's also Blissey raids we're doing here. Might as well do some of those too. And if nobody else is joining, I think we'll just, well, maybe not spoiler ahead, but I think I'll cut this video a little short so I have more time to prepare for the tournament. And that's 2 of these in a row I had to cut short, but I'd like to do well in the tournament. And just in case any of my competitors are watching, I'm not going to show the team that I'm going to use on here either. I want this to stay a surprise. And Sky Attack for the win because you have minus defense. Bye-bye. That was like a little animation of how Lucha just doing that backflip in the air. I think it's a backflip. I don't know. It's one of them wrestling moves. Tera Water looking pretty good. Why don't we do that? Blessed all Tera Water Taurus. Hold up a sec. I'm gonna change my move over here to Breaking Swiper. And we'll put back Taunt afterwards. I mean, if you want to compare a Burn Up to another move, Burn Up is very similar to Double Shock. Kind of wish I made Double Shock 130 power instead of 120, but oh well. Oh, the full tactical attack again. Well, welcome back. But like I was mentioning before with that burn up, I hope we get more moves like in the future, just like with Double Shock. I don't know, maybe we can have an ice type version of it called Flash Freeze, perhaps? I don't know. I mean, Roost kind of works like that too when you use it, where you lose your flying typing for the turn. I suppose we don't have more versions of Roost. Nice to know you came out on top. Alright, still can't Tera just yet. Might as well one more breaking swipe. Cover that attack. Oh yeah, well, before I said that burn up... Oh, come on, did you just crit me? Fuck off. Anyways, what I was saying before about burn up was that... Oh, come on, and you take away my Tera Charge really now. Giga Drain. But, the real fire-type version of Hyper Beam is Blast Burn. It's fine. Since our burn-up is kind of its own thing, and at the time, only Arcanine, Cantonian, Moltres, and Jotonian Typhlosion component in Gen 7 and 8. I should be able to survive another one of those. Yeah, Burn-Up's been a move since Generation 7. I remember, I think I mentioned this in my Generation 7 tier list, or my Z-Moves tier list. I remember using Fire Emblem Z, and of course you miss. I remember using Fire Emblem Z on a Moltres with Burn-Up, where it becomes a base power of 195, which is really strong. Alright, Giga Drain because you decided to miss your attack. I guess the bow is what ended it. That's what you get. Also, I never did the Romanus Park stuff, and honestly, I don't really care about it. As I've mentioned, once I beat Cynthia back in early 2021, I literally haven't picked up the game since. Outside of, like, transferring things to Legends Arceus. Yeah, what rain? What are you gonna use the rain for? You're dead already. And I shall put back Taunt on this Superior. If I remember correctly, Romanus Park was supposed to replace Pal Park or something. Tera Dank. I mean, it has a much weaker base power than Hyper Beam. Plus, again, the fire type version of Hyper Beam is Blast Burn. That already exists. Hello, Pro Jaleep 12. How are you doing today? Oh, nice to know you're doing well. Terra Dark Mandibus. Not bad, actually. I don't think Manibus gets toxic anymore, right? Remember that? You used to learn that, I think, just through level up, even. And just change the Your moveset real fast. Yeah, but Hyper Beam is 150 power and 90 accuracy, but guess what other fire type move has those same stats? It really just crit me. Come on. At least it didn't do that much. Thankfully, Manibus has such low offenses. That crit me twice. What the hell? And a flinch. Bullshit. Can I get a move off? Good God. Oh, that's why weak armor. Alright, that's fine. I don't mind that. It does have a lot of those legendaries, yes. I mean, every Pokemon remake kind of has to have that. Where you're able to catch each of the different legendaries. I've always liked that about certain remakes. Specifically for Horus, I'd say. Remember catching those all the time back in middle school. There's an awful lot going on here. Well, that was the longest turn I've ever sat through, I think. It could have been longer. Oh yeah, dude. I never did the Shadow Giratina fight, but I could live without it. I mean, it's heavily implied to be the same Giratina from Legends Arceus. I don't know. Well, we're using weak armor to our advantage, thankfully. There we go, I'm not getting flinched every other move. Slash crit. Thankfully, Manabuzz doesn't have the best offenses. It's mostly just a tank. A disruptive tank, but a tank nonetheless. And it does get some useful moves like Bufog. In case you don't want to deal with those annoying screens or something. Yes, but Blast Burn exists. Blast Burn is the Hyper Beam of fire moves. Those moves are completely separate from themselves. Like, Fire Blast is more comparable with Blizzard, or whatchamacallit, or Thunder, even though it has more accuracy in the both of those moves, which is kind of funny, but whatever. Same with Hydro Pump, or with Hurricane, that's another one. Those moves are more in the same sphere, not Hyper Beam variants. And Burn Up is kind of in the same category as Double Shock, and I have a feeling we'll see another move like that at some point in the future. But we don't know yet. But Focus Blast is another move closer to Fire Blast. Gunshot's another one. Any other moves like that? Off the top of my head, I don't think so. I'll just do this one alone. People would be taking too long to make a decision. Not to be a rude dude, but come on, man. So I mean, this still counts as the fire-type version of Hyper Beam, but it is locked to starter Pokemon, so you mean anything closer to it that isn't locked to starters? I mean, I guess that makes a bit more sense. But still, it's already classified as the Hyper Beam of fire-type moves. Also, Double Intimidate. Can't poison me, heh. And you did so little damage, you healed me. Now this is going to hurt you quite a bit. Too bad I won't be immune to the poison type moves anymore. Taking this. Good damage, good damage. Good damage all around. Can't you do absolutely Nathan? I see, I see. So whatever's the closest thing to Hyper Beam that any non-starters can use. Because they sadly do not have the option of Blast Burn. Even if you poison me, not the worst. And now I can be poisoned, I don't like that. Yeah, the leftovers counteracts it a bit. I forgot those two Thorn Burn Up. I wish Burn Up were still in this game, it'd be so nice. They pair really well with Tera Fire as well. And you're still doing so little damage. And now you're done. Zero ability capsules. Nice. Oh yes, I do love that as well. That video he made. I remember the Unity Tower in the Unova games. I actually remember going to those back in elementary school. And too bad that place is lost to time now. Let's see what other people have online. Yeah, the Gem 4 Islands are pretty interesting. That looks like a job for a Luna that is Ursa. Both Liberty Garden and Unity Tower, remember those? Both of which went to back in elementary school. Like, Unity Tower was only unlocked if you had a trade with somebody on the GTS back then. The bad GTS, before Gen 6 made a better one. Funny, another halfway decent thing to come out of that game. And that's too bad the GTS we do have in the current generation is stuck on phones, and I don't know how to use the phone version of Pokemon Home, so I didn't really care. You know how much is helping hand plus 2 burn Gut's gonna do? I was training an Ursaluna off screen against a Kingdra. I was using Terra Normal boosted Facade with burn, of course. That one shot I passed a Terra Steel Kingdra, that was crazy. I even did damage calcs on Pikalytics afterwards. I was like, oh god, it was like a 90% chance to 1-hit KO, which is absurd. I was like, Ursaluna, you need to calm down. It ain't that serious. Like, do not mess with the bear. No, do not mess with the bear. And he did have good intentions. And then Team Plasma saying something about, oh, we'll come back later to test you. Later how? I remember audibly saying, okay, how are you going to test me, huh? Funnily enough, they never did in the entire time I had that old save file. So they were lying. Bugs. Use the power of bugs. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you do get Victini only at level 15. And at that point in the game, your house level Pokemon is around 20. I remember catching my old Victini in a heal ball. But then I did a really bad thing with that back in elementary school, but I don't know if I already stated it, but As stated at some point in the future. Well, let's just say I got an Oshawott out of it. One of the worst things I've done. Well, cut me some slack, I was only 9 years old at the time. Just close combo. If you were supposed to die there, I saw your HP bar blink. You cheatin'. You cheatin', Blissey. Yeah, I did. That's what I did. One of the worst. I remember my older brother used to kind of chastise me for that. I was 9 years old at the time, and I really wanted an Oshawott. And even my older brother was like, bro, I could have just bred you one. Oh, that's one of the worst mistakes I've ever done as a Pokemon player. But again, I was 9 years old in the 3rd grade at the time. Cut me some slack. I still had another Victini anyways, thanks to the other movie event Victini that has Fusion Flare and Fusion Bolt. The movie that came out back in early 2012? So, I still had a Victini, thankfully. So I think that's another reason why I ended up turning, because I was like, hey, I already have another Victini, so I might as well give away this one. That was my thought process, I think, back then. One of the worst things I've ever done, but still. I remember one other thing I did, too, in my old copy of Pokemon Gold that my older brother let me play back when I was in 2nd grade. I remember finding a shiny Oddish, I believe. It was red instead of, like, the greenish color, if I remember correctly. I caught it, but then I released it because I already had a Gloom that I was training at the time, so I was like, it's kind of the same logic there. So another pretty dumb thing. I think I also remember running to a shiny Goldeen that I ended up killing. I don't know. I do remember it sparkling, though. Of course, I wouldn't make dumb mistakes like that nowadays, but still. Rookity, I think I just ran into. Oh, what were those bad things, let's just say you did? And because of that dumb trade I did, that's how I knew about the existence of Unity Tower, so I got something out of it, kinda, I guess. I do distinctly also remember a trade for a shiny Zebstrika, and the person wanted a Victini for it, but for some reason the trade just was stuck on there and it wouldn't move forward. I don't know why, but whatever. Again, back when the GTS sucked ass. Let's use Omicron to smite the darkness. Alright, one more Swords Dance. Because combo kills. Yeah, Mega Horn's another one of those moves like Fire Blast, the bug-type version of it at least. And now you're dead. Let's do a Terra Steel one next. Fun fact about this little area over here, there was originally going to be more foliage up here instead of it just being this kind of desolate looking mountain. If we look at a beta sketch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's map, if this game actually had proper development time, we probably would have seen that, but whatever. Speaking of which, y'all heard about the Pokemon Presents being confirmed? Get another one of those on July 22nd. At the time of making this video, it's going to be a while before it happens, but can't wait to see what we're going to see. What about that in Pokemon Champions? Oh, nice to know he fixed it for you. I remember a friend of mine back in middle school when X and Y were the latest Pokemon games. He said that he accidentally Wonder Traded away his Xerneas. So he ended up missing out on that Xerneas. Yeah, we've all done dumb things in playing Pokemon when we were younger. I think Pokemon's just one of those franchises where I think that's the case. You get Pokemon. Maybe there's other franchises out there where people have done something like that. But Pokemon, I feel like, is the one franchise we hear about that the most. I remember this one little dumb thing I kind of thought of. Like, y'all remember the old V-Tex, right? And V-Smiles? I don't know if y'all remember those. I remember playing with those when I was little all the time. And they had a difficulty setting, where easy difficult was 1 star, but difficult for their games was 2 stars. So I always went for the 2-starred ones because I thought, hey, I'd get more prizes if I went for the 2-star difficulty, but I was wrong. It just made the game harder. Speaking of old VTEX, I need to go look for emulators of those. It's just a bunch of little educational games. And they're kind of slow-paced, actually. They're meant to be. It's made for toddlers. Of course they're going to be slow-paced. You're not going to get some Need for Speed racing game or you're not going to get an educational game be the speed of Need for Speed, you know? Or a more fast-paced game like Super Smash Bros. Melee, for example. You're not going to get that with an education game. Like, I remember, recently, I downloaded this Blue's Clues game for the Game Boy Color emulator that I have on my PC, and boy, the game was moving like a frickin' snail. It's an education game. What do you expect? It's supposed to be slow-paced. Or edutainment game or whatever. Probably an action replay or something, or a Game Shark, most likely. That's my guess. think I remember one time as well in Pokemon Black and White, my old save file back in elementary school, I ended up selling the Macho Brace because I thought I was going to buy one from it, but I ended up accidentally selling it. I think I did that a few times too when this game first came out, but thankfully only with those old craftable items, so that's not hard to get back. Yeah, Action Replay it is. I remember that, again, back in elementary school in the 4th grade, when Pokemon Black and White were the latest Pokemon games. A friend of mine, he snuck his DS to school, and we were at recess at the time. And he showed me, and he was kind of hacking at the time. I don't know if he still plays Pokemon, I haven't seen that guy in years, but he showed me that he had the entire Pokedex, all 649 Pokemon. Yeah, that includes Meloetta, Keldeo, and Genesect, who were unavailable at the time, all of them being shiny. So yeah, he definitely hacked all of them in. That was cool to see, you can't deny that. And I was even considering getting Action Replay back then, but thankfully I never got my hands on one of those. Because hacking is not the way, kiddos. Unless you're trying to make a competitive team pre-Generation 6, then honestly I don't blame them. And I've already stated the reason why in previous videos. And pre-Generation 8 for legendaries. Or, yeah, because of natures and all that garbage. Alright, Tera Electric. Alright, just make sure nothing was shiny here. That would have been useful last week. Oh yeah, I remember my older brother mentioning something about having a Jirachi with the Meteor Storm. Yeah, so that's where he got it from. He also mentioned that he had a level 2 Lugia, so he might have had shit up his ass with that one. I don't know how the motherfucker got a legit level 2 Lugia, that makes no sense. But the Meteor Storm Jirachi, though, I do remember him stating that. That's a nice character development of hers. I remember first finding that out when Black and White 2 were announced back in 2012. Same with Bryson no longer being the gym leader, but now being a movie star. Jaren being his own gym leader, all that stuff. Also, her design in Black and White 2 is adorable. Better than her Black and White 1 design, I'd say. But it just goes to show how other characters are progressing. You don't really see that much in later games, or even in games before Black and White 2. Like, imagine if, say for X and Y, we'll probably see this in Legends ZA. By the time he's saying this, that game isn't out yet. But what happened to Serena or Callum, perhaps? Maybe we could see what happened to the other 8 gym leaders of Kalos, or the Elite Four members, even. Like, or even go back to Generation 4. I mean, Pokemon Masters kind of does it a little, but not to the same extent as Black and White 2 did, I'd say. But, like, what if one of the gym leaders became an Elite Four member? Kind of. Actually, the closest we see that in Gold and Silver is Koga becoming an Elite Four member from being a gym leader previously, and then his daughter taking up the gym leader role. Something like that, but Black and White 2 definitely takes that step further with a lot of characters. The only problem I kind of have with Bianca's Black and White 2 design, though, is her Kingdom Hearts looking shoes, but otherwise. Where'd you get those shoes from? How did that get into it? But, like, imagine if maybe May became the new Professor of Hoenn, while... Either that, or maybe Brendan became the new Professor of Hoenn, while May became... what am I calling it? That stupid Pokemon contest dumb shit, whatever. She probably became a top coordinator or some garbage like she does in the anime. Something like that. Or maybe Wally, he's the new champion of Hoenn, that'd be sick. I play a game where Wally's the champion. He's got champion material Pokemon, I could see it happening. Or maybe Shauna in the X and Y games is an Elite Four member now. Nah, she ain't good enough for that. But, or maybe she's a gym leader now, or maybe Tyranno has a dance-themed Pokemon gym, something like that. Or even better, in Black and Gold and Silver and Heart Soul Silver, we see Blue later become an Elite Four member. Not an Elite Four member, a gym leader. Taking Giovanni's place. Something like that. Like, just character progression. We always see that in Gen 2 and 5 because those are the only sequel games we have in Pokemon. Every other game is either its own standalone game or an enhancement. Or a remake. Or maybe, hey, you see, and that if you remember that random-ass Suicune trainer, maybe he finally caught Suicune, instead of Suicune being canonically caught by the Johto Pro tags. Something like that. Or maybe there's another Suicune you managed to find, since we know there are multiple different legendary Pokemon. That's another thing I used to think when I was, younger. That, there used to be just one of each legendary Pokemon, but it kind of makes sense that there would be multiple, but less numbers than most common Pokemon, you know? And it definitely explains why a trainer can own more than one different legendary Pokemon from other universes and stuff. You know, you're talking about Roxy, not Roxanne. That's a completely different gym leader, but yeah. That's the first instance of voice, unless you count Pikachu in Pokemon Yellow, yeah, that is the first instance of voice acting in a Pokemon game. Still has more voice acting than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, whoa! Same with Sword and Shield. Seriously, I really hope Generation 10 gets voice acting, it really should. Just do it already, Game Freak, goddammit. Stop being pansies. And like another thing of progression we see in Gold and Silver is the changes that happen to Cinnabar Island, which apparently got scorched by a volcano. Yeah, what volcano? In the anime it makes sense, but what volcano? There was no volcano on Cinnabar Island before. But whatever. Maybe it's a faraway volcano we can't see on screen. I don't know, that's a possibility. And then Blaine makes his new gym kind of in the mountain. It's kind of similar to what he did in the anime, too, after what Team Rocket did in that episode. Sayonara, Bliss. Or maybe in Alola. Maybe we see Gladion come back and now he's the new champion of Alola. Or he's also an Elite Four member. Maybe we see Lily take over Luzamine's, Aether Foundation at some point in the future. That could happen. Or at least becomes an assistant part of it, if she wanted to. Maybe like what we see in the anime, they finally reunite with their father. Which I was recently watching some clips about that. I still watch that from time to time. Saturday apples. Yeah, something like that too. And yeah, Barry could take his father's place in the Battle Frontier. Or maybe Cynthia stepped down as champion and somebody else became champion. Heck, in the we see that in Pokemon Masters after the Pokemon Journeys after the Masters 8, where Cynthia was stating after this she wanted to retire as champion. If that's what she wants to do. Or even look at Galar. Maybe, I mean, but Marty already became the new gym leader of Spike Myth, so there's that, I guess. Maybe Leon was finally defeated. Perhaps Sonia will be a top-ranked professor as well, and then Hop becomes her assistant, which is kind of what he wanted to do at the end of that game anyway, so there's that. What else could I say? Maybe they have a new Elite Four up in Galar, since they're the one region that doesn't have that. Or even look at Paldea. Actually, and we even notice, because it's stated that Scarlet and Violet, I think, takes place many years after the events of Sword and Shield. Because in this game, I forgot where, but one of Sonia's books is mentioned, actually. And it being like a reward-winning book on basically the Pokemon World's version of Amazon, something like that. And in Paldea, maybe our girl Giuliano over here takes Gita's place as La Primera, or either that or Nimona could end up doing that. Or maybe Penny's the new professor of Paldea. That's a possibility. And I don't know, Arvin's the Gordon Ramsay of Pokemon, kind of, so there's that. Maybe he took over Medalli's gym, you don't know. Let's see, Serena and Calm. Again, we'll likely see this in Legends EA, but... Serena... Professor's assistant, maybe? I feel like House is the one reason I should have had Pokemon contests too, but whatever. Yeah, no, that's a hell of a statement for me to say. I'm not the biggest fan of this contest, but whatevs. I'm all about the battling and the training, man. Ain't no time for some passive contests. But, for Callum, he could be the new crown champion of Kalos. Like I mentioned with Trevor. Or Tierno could have, like, a dance-themed gym, maybe take Viola's place. Which I really hope they do that in a future game. Instead of type-based gyms, we could have, like, themed-based gyms. It makes it so much more interesting. I get why they have type-based gyms, you know, it teaches the player what types they need against which gyms, or which types. It makes sense from a game design standpoint, and from teaching the player, but that only works for, like, newer players. So they can have, like, a mix of maybe some gyms are type-based, other gyms are theme-based. And we could see that with Tierno. And then Trevor, maybe he's the new Professor of Kalos instead of Professor Sycamore. Yeah. Serena stated even in Pokemon Masters that she canonically likes shopping, so there's that. Let's see, let's go over here. Come on. There we go. And as for Shauna, I don't know. Professor's assistant, maybe assistant to Trevor, or maybe... Actually, or even Emma. You remember Emma from the XMI post game? We'll likely see her in Legends EA as well. And perhaps we'll see that she stops all the crime in all of Lumio City, and we'll probably see that in Legends EA. Then maybe we'll see Looker again. Or maybe we'll get a new version of Team Flare, kind of like what we saw with Team Rocket. When they had a resurgence in the Gen 2 games. Though they were arguably weaker without their leader Giovanni around, but yeah. I think there's already official artwork confirming him is going to be in the game too, for ZA, so there's that. A lot of people say it's going to be the box art. Well, we'll know on July 22nd. And there's a lot of leaks about certain Ultimate forms that have been confirmed, but I ain't gonna say anything. I don't wanna say anything until it's proven true. This is why I'm not the biggest fan of leaks. It does kick ass. Why do you think so many Poké Tubers use it? Poké Tubers like Oregonian. And one last Swords Dance, and now your demise. Your demise with a side of fries. And down you go. I've never played Professor Layton because, I don't know, the level 5 franchises, I mean, as you can see here, I'm more of a Fantasy Life person. I love Fantasy Life. Great game. Should play the 3DS game if you haven't. But I've never tried a Professor Layton game. I'm probably go get a DS emulator for it, just so I can give it a shot. Tera Raid. Again, the English language is just weird. Why is the CH in Psychic silent? Never made sense to me. Whatever. I guess because Psychic sounds stupid? I don't know. I mean, they're not wrong. It does sound stupid. Where's my other one? Here it is. Alright, that's the wrong one. I really wish they'd buff up the punching glove item. I don't know why it only powers up punching moves by 10%. It should power up by 20%. Or even by 50%. Why not? If cutting moves from sharpness can be boosted by 50%, if biting moves from strong jaw can be powered up by 50%, why not punching moves from Iron Fist powered up by 50%? A lot of punching moves are also really underpowered anyways. Not all of them, like Dynamic Punch or Focus Punch, for example, but still. But, like, the Elemental Punches, Drain Punch, those are all base 75 power. Silver, what did he become? I mean, after his character development and having more of a bond with his Pokemon, it could be similar to what happened with Paul in the anime, where, if I remember correctly, I think Paul became a gym leader, so I could see the same thing happening to Silver. Since Paul was basically the anime version of Silver. Especially in Pokemon Masters, since he canonically owns Ho-Oh, and has a Pure Heart, which, according to legends in Johto, Ho-Oh only show up in front of a Pure Hearted trainer, which is BS. How's he Pure Hearted with the way he acted, but whatever. Maybe because of his change of heart is why they call him Pure Hearted? I don't know. For Jimmy or Ethan, I like calling him by his Pokemon Chronicles counterpart. He could probably take Red's place as new champion of the region. Marina, again, her Pokemon Chronicles counterpart, or Chris. Probably the next professor. She could be a Johto professor. And Lyra, I don't know, maybe Pokeathlon enthusiast? Y'all remember the Pokeathlon, right? Another side mode I used to do all the time back in elementary school. Oh, good times. I think I remember playing that, I think around the time Black and White came out. Yeah. Actually, I had Pokemon Heart Gold in the same, like, I got that game in the just before I started the 3rd grade. And then, what, about 6 months later when Pokemon Black and White came out, got that game for my 9th birthday. So I went around the same time, used to do the Pokeathlon all the time. Get a lot of really neat prizes from it, too. Really fun minigames. Oh, except for that stupid flag minigame. That flag minigame can go to hell. Where you have to constantly flick your stylus pen on screen. I remember I lost my old stylus pen. I might still have it under my couch in my house, actually. But, I remember I didn't have my old stylus pen anymore, and back in the 5th grade again, just before Black and White 2 came out. I used to use it, I forgot, I think it was either my older brother or my dad that gave me this pen that I could use that kept screwing up my old DS bottom screen. So I kind of had to stop using it. And instead just ended up using a pink stylus pen. Don't laugh at me. It was needed. And just ended up using that to do the Pokeathlon stuff. I think I remember I was also playing an old Yu-Gi-Oh game that I still have on that DS as well. I don't have that old DS anymore, but that old Yu-Gi-Oh game's the one I'm talking about that I still have. That's on the Game Boy Advance. I was playing those at the time before getting my copy of White 2. I remember at that time, too, a friend of mine had traded... I forgot what Pokemon card he gave me, but I remember he gave me an old Steel-type Arceus card and an old Darkrai level... Not Darkrai, Dusknoir level X card. I still have those cards, actually. Too bad they're in horrible shape. They were nasty as hell when you give them to me. You're like, what are you doing with your cards? Just like with game cases... It always annoys me when I buy a game off of eBay, like an old GameCube game off of eBay or something, and the disc is frickin' scratched up. I'm like, I mean, it's nice that it works, but what did you do to your disc? You know how many games I fucking own? Like, disc-based games that I frickin' own, and not a single one of them is fucking damaged even after years of having it? How do people do that so much? I don't get it. Take better care of your games, goddammit. No wonder why Nintendo decided to go back to cartridges. Or at least I have a feeling that's one of the reasons, but still. Doubt that's their main reason. I guess cartridges are just cheaper than discs, but yes. Imagine a version of the Switch that used discs instead of cartridges. It'd be very similar to the PSP in that case. But yeah, the PSP is fun to play in my opinion, but the constant rumbling you get with the disc running is a little infuriating sometimes, so I'm kind of glad Nintendo didn't go that direction. Imagine that on there, it wouldn't be as good. Or imagine that on like the DS or the 3DS. Imagine you put the disc on the bottom of the console. I feel like that's just more problems waiting to happen there, honestly. Especially if you have it, like, sitting there in rest mode. Yeah. Or even how he could become the trial captain in his grandfather's place. That's another thing. Kukui will likely be retired. While Elio, I guess, could become the champion of Alola. While for Celine, I don't know. Maybe she could be a trial captain. We didn't even see what happens to the other trial captains as well. I think he just can continue doing his little his dancing routine. Probably even open up his own little dancing gym. Who knows? Maybe he'll partner up with Tierno. That's a possibility. Mallow, she'd probably open a restaurant after her mother and father. Best girl is Arola. That's Alola girl is Arola. She'd probably stay as the Elite Four member. That's my guess. Or stay protecting the Aether House. One of those two things. Haley, have the little golf course open. And second best little girl, Lana. Maybe she's opening a fishing parlor, I don't know, and train one of her, or even both of her sisters to run the trial. Which I really wish her sisters had unique sprites in the game. Kind of like how they have unique 3D, or unique designs in the anime. Bye-bye. Bird, bye-bye. Remember that little old song on that old refrigerator magnet toy thing I used to have when I was little? Oh well. Yeah, after Lance put him in his place. But anyways. Yeah, the Lance and Claire fight. I hate how arrogant Claire is, and yet she's the weakest of all the Dragon-type specialists in the entire franchise. Which is actually kind of funny if you think about it. She claims she's the best, and yet she's literally the weakest one. I mean, seriously. Lance, Ryuki, Iris, Drayton, who am I forgetting? Raihan, Drake, the Hoenn League Drake, not the Orange Islands one. I guess might as well count him too, just because I hate Claire that much, but yeah. But anyways, that was slightly off topic. Oh yeah, and Drosna too, don't forget her. Yeah, and that actually ended up happening to Paul in the anime, too, when he was battling Cynthia. Bro was using his Weavile against her Garchomp and still lost. Gotta need more than type advantage to win these matches, dude. I guess I'm using the loser. And just more parallels between Silver and Paul just being the anime version of him. Alright, I see, I get your point. That makes a little more sense now. I mean, even Silver thought he was like, hey, I'm not pure-hearted, why is Ho-Oh choosing me? In the old story in Pokemon Masters. I remember all that Team Rocket stuff when Giovanni got access to Mega Mewtwo Y in that game. But then Ethan, or Jimmy, also had access to Lugia too. I feel like it'd be the other way around, where Jimmy has Ho-Oh and Silver has Lugia, because, you know, the naming scheme, but whatever. Funny how Cosmic Toss has the little terror animation, yet it doesn't really matter. And it used Heal Pulse on me, I think? Oh no, that was like 2. Oops. Yeah, his friendship with his Crobat is proof that he actually cares about his Pokemon. So there's a little bit of character development in just his team. Really nice touch. See the same thing with Cyrus though, so Cyrus hates Pokemon, or not Pokemon, but hates people, yet has a good friendship with his Crobat. You can say the same thing about Lysander too, actually, because he's able to use Mega Evolution. So, I feel like, you know, one thing that should bounce on Mega Evolution more, in my opinion, which I don't know why they didn't put this in the Gen 6 games, same with the Gen 7 games. I feel like before you can use a Mega Stone in a Pokemon, you should be able to have max friendship with them first. Maybe that's an unnecessary limitation, maybe it is, but personally, I think it would fit more with the lore if they did something like that. So Mega Evolution is a little more balanced, and you can't just use it right away once you have access to it. Yes, he does. Very good thing. Terra Water Aqua Cater. That would be even stronger if it was in the rain. Sharpness boosted to +2. The Life Orb boosted Natural Stab, Terra Stab. And let's just pretend that the rain is here, and let's also pretend a Helping Hand is here just cause. And done, son. Seriously, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is the one Pokemon game where you can do something like that. Just so many multipliers, things will not take hits very well. God, one of the reasons I love Terrestrialization so much. Seriously, this, Terra Normal, Ursaluna, most forms of Ursaluna for that matter. Terra Fire, Torkoal, or Hisuian, Typhlosion. What else? I know I've done that with a lot of other Pokemon. Terra Water, Kyogre. Terra Fire, Gouging Fire. Ah, man. So many ways I can just destroy my opponent in one hit. It's always cool when I can one-shot an opponent, despite them resisting my attack. I mean, at that point, what's the point of even resisting it, you know? Yeah, I do remember that video, I just don't... Did I watch it? I don't know. I know what video you're talking about, though. I guess same thing with Lysander and his ultimate Gyarados. Just more proof that, because yeah, Giovanni's able to use Mega Evolution as well. The Team Rocket executives, they don't count. They're little pansies, they're little lowlives. Gosma... Luzamine... We should have a friendship-based Pokemon as well. I don't know. Jaren Rose does not have any friendship-based Pokemon. They're professors. I mean, like, most of the Pokemon villains have some sort of bond with their Pokemon, as you can see with either Mega Evolutions or having Pokemon that evolve via friendship. But Ghetsis is the one Pokemon villain, at least before Gen 7, I want to say, that has that distinction. As I mentioned in my Pokemon Black Nuzlocke, in Black and White 2, his Hydreigon is Frustration. Which, you know he's a cruel trainer when you teach you just hate your Pokemon if you seriously teach your Pokemon that move, I don't care. But fuck anyone who seriously runs that move on their Pokemon, you just hate your Pokemon, don't you? And that includes you, Ghetsis boy. But that will become more important later on. Right about that. During the Golden Rod incident, let's just say. That was a crit. Wait, but that was +6, right? I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm +6. Die. Yeah, seriously. Your Pokemon just hates you, and you're an awful trainer if you seriously use that move, especially when Return exists. I mean, Return is considered to be the better between the two moves because simply walking raises your Pokemon's friendship. And the way to lower your Pokemon's friendship, you gotta constantly give them food they don't like, you gotta constantly get them with stash conditions, and best of all, constantly have them faint in battle. Which is part of the reason why friendship evolutions are so annoying in the first place. I remember actually, in playing Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver back in elementary school, doing the Battle Frontiers Battle Factory, or Room Battle Factory. But anyways, I remember there was this rental Miltank that for some reason knows frustration and it's at max power, which, again, fuck the trainer who trained that Miltank. Like, honestly. But I kind of do like that showcases just how evil Ghetsis is with this Hydreigon. And a lot of people have a headcanon that the Hydreigon Iris uses in Black and White 2 is Ghetsis' old Hydreigon from the first game. And she took it under her wing. I mean, I doubt that's the case, but it'd be really awesome if that were. Like, all Pokemon are just like dogs, just like cats. All Pokemon are beautiful creatures. Whether it's the Lord Arceus, or a little Caterpie, or Snobby Boy, or the Destroyer Overalls, Necrozma, and Eternatus, whatever. They're all good creatures. It's the trainers that are bad. You say the same thing about dogs and cats. It's not the dog or a cat that's bad. It's the owner, or as I like to call them because I don't like saying dog or cat owner, guardians. We're dog and cat guardians. You train your dog or cat badly, that is on the owner's fault, not the pet's fault themselves. This is the reason why pit bulls have such a bad reputation. And in the Pokemon world, especially in Legends Arceus, it's the reason why some Pokemon have a bad reputation as well. Yeah, that too. Like, you literally have to, and I remember seeing some reviews on BDSP where if you don't want to deal with the friendship mechanic in that game that kind of is forced on you, you have to actively poison your Pokemon, which goes against the message of Pokemon in having a strong bond with, well, your Pokemon. So again, good game design there, Ilka. Especially with Pitbulls having a bad rep. I have an American Pitbull at my dad's house. One of my two dogs is American Pitbull. And it's just, he's one of the most friendliest dogs ever. Just proof that it's not because of the dog itself or the breed itself. It's because of the owner. Like, the owner is the reason why the dog acts the way they do. That's why we have some overly vicious dogs. Well, unless they're Chihuahuas, weirdly enough, they're very vicious. But yeah. Despite being one of the smaller dog sizes. I mean, I guess it's just how the breed is and how they were bred to be, but whatever. You can always look up how different dog breeds act. And how they were bred to, act. Like, some dogs really like swimming, other dogs are really good at hunting other animals. Some dogs are bred to literally live in harsh environments. Like, look at Huskies, they're meant to be in the snow. And which male character was that? I mean, he was pretty cool. Some people don't really like him as much because his only motivation is, hey, let me destroy Team Plasma to get my sister's Purloin back. Which, on one hand, I kind of understand the criticism because it's just like if the Purloin had like maybe a special nickname or something, or maybe it was a slightly unique Purloin, like maybe a Purloin with a small chip on its ear or something. You could see it in its sprite. And if his sister had a name and a unique sprite, perhaps, then it would have been a little more important. You can understand more his motivation for that. But on the other hand, it makes sense for him to be that protective because, I mean, for one, if your sister were to lose a cat or a bunny or something, you want to get back for her, right? For one, and for two, you could say the argument of, oh, you can just get another Purloin, but that's not the case. What if you were to lose a dog or a cat or a bunny in real life? You're not just gonna go get another dog, cat, or bunny, right? I mean, you could, yeah, but it's not gonna have the same emotional link that you had to it. Uh-oh. All right, never mind. It was just being weird, but it's not gonna have the same emotional link to it. And later on in the story, we find out that the Purloin Team Plasma evolved into a Lightbird. So it's kind of not the same anymore. So much so that Lightbird doesn't even remember its original trainer because it was with Team Plasma for so long. And that hurt even more. Because imagine if your pet was stolen from you, I don't know, it took you a couple years to get your dog back, and now your dog doesn't really fully recognize you. Or maybe bad example because dogs with their sense. So maybe cat would make a little more sense in that sense. But yeah. So this is part of the reason why I really like Actually Hugh. Like, pre-Generation 8, definitely probably in my top 5 favorite rivals. What up there were Blue, Silver, Gladian, and Wally. Maybe, oh, you son of a... Maybe not in that order, but still. And even after Gen 8, well, after Generation 8 or 9, Nemona's cool. Probably my favorite rival in this game, as you saw in my playthrough. And as for Generation 8, yeah, I like Marnie. A lot of people think Marnie is bland. I mean, she's got some character to her, but I like her quite a bit. And Hippity Hoppity now he's my property, he ain't have bad either. I like his character development too, and one of the few rivals actually changes his tune throughout the game, along with Blue, Wally, and N. And also one of the few rivals to have a legendary Pokemon. The only one besides N to have that. Especially if you're playing Pokemon Shield and he uses Zacian, because you're fucked if that's the case. I mean, there's ways to beat it, but you kind of have to make your strategy around it. I'm just saying. If you don't know what's coming, oh, you're in for a wild ride. Thank the Lord I had Sword and not Shield. Especially for my Nuzlocke boy. Of course there's a Shield guy. I always liked that he showed up in the Gen 7 games, which is a bit of a foreshadowing to Necrozma's fusions with the other members of the Light Trio, which is pretty cool. Which I have a feeling that was originally supposed to be the case in the first Sun Moon, but again, that game was extremely rushed, so they just had to push all that to an enhancement version and try to market it as like it's a new game. Which I'm glad they haven't done that garbage since, still. And of course, he has a lot of steel and electric types. I wish he had a more interesting team. He's definitely one of the people you could fight in the battle tree, but he's also one of the easier, notable trainers in that, in my opinion. From my experience in both the first Pokemon Moon and in Ultra Moon. Especially in Ultra Moon. I like how he's only with Team Plasma because to further his goals and not actually because he cares about what gets us once. I think during the Rainbow Rocket episode, which by the way, at the time you make this video, I still never finished that actually, my old copy of Ultra Moon from high school. But I kind of like it who just goes, it gets us, I don't give a fuck about your plans. That's kind of funny. It gets it, and Colress actually kind of reminds me of Jade Curtis from Tales of the Abyss, even though obviously I played Pokemon long before I got into Tales of, but he's very similar to him in a lot of ways. Pretty sassy and doesn't really care about too much, and funnily enough, they both wear glasses. And are blonde. Part of me wants to see those two in a fight, but Jade easily wins that. Yeah, if you don't know about Jade Curtis from Tales of the Abyss, you should look him up. He's such a funny character. And he's the same character I named my Blastoise and my Pokemon Let's Go Eevee Nuzlocke after. Honestly, one of the fan base's favorite characters for the Tales of fan base, and you'll see why if you look it up. And he has a neat battle theme as well. Can't deny that. Plus, he uses Porygon 2 and Z, and Metagross, and Magnezone. All goated Pokemon. I just wish he had a bit more type diversity, but it makes sense. He's using Pokemon based around, like, machinery and data, you know? What, as well as Kling, he uses an Eviolite Magneton. I think he uses a Rotom. And you can fight him in, I think Black and White 2 is also, outside of, like, lotteries and stuff, Black and White 2 is the first Pokemon game where you can get more than one Master Ball as well, which is pretty cool. And later Pokemon games will certainly do that. Again, outside of those stupid trainer ID lotteries that are definitely not rigged, but yes. The Blaze ability. I mean, what am I call it? Infernape, where the entire Chimchar line is based on the same thing that Goku is based on, so it makes sense. That being Son Wukong. Or Son Goku, if you want to say it like that. Wait, what was it? What Terra types I fighting? Flying. Big stupid. Where's my Ogre Pinhead? Still want to make a Red Eye Sandstorm team. I just don't know what other restricted Pokemon I should use. I don't want to use Rayquaza because that's going to get in the way of the strategy. I also like how Ash utilized the Blaze ability for Infernape a lot better than Paul ever could. Paul, he was just trying to get Chimchar to tank damage, while Ash, he was more strategic about the damage Infernape took. Which again, really good progression for Ash until Black and White completely fucks it up, but yeah. I mean, there's a reason why they did that, but still. And then we'll see it again next in Y, and in Sun and Moon, and in Journeys. The smartness that we know Ash is capable of. I think I'm gonna do a few more of these Pussy Raids now. I got a tournament to set up for. Alright, and the best rock type move to ever exist. Besides maybe Rock Wrecker. Hey, y'all saw that? Those rocks went down into the ground. I guess that's how the game kind of gets rid of it. Something we're not supposed to see, but thanks to the camera angle, we can see it. Yeah, if the camera angle were like this, we wouldn't be able to see that. I mean, most games do that, where it stores certain things and then kind of has them go into the ground or off-screen, or kind of blips out of existence off-screen. So because it doesn't need the animation anymore, so it'll store it away, and maybe store it somewhere else for in case it needs the animation again. That can happen quite a bit, actually, and you see that a lot with some, like, out-of-bounds exploits in older Pokemon games. Saw a YouTube short about that recently, actually, where in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, if you're in the Champions Room before you fight Lance, up in the, if you use a walk-through walls glitch, or exploit, you can see that there's two, like, ominous shadows floating in the void, and it's stated that that's supposed to be Professor Oak and, that reporter that's supposed to talk to you after you beat Lance. So they're kind of just stored off-screen, and I think I mentioned this in my Paper Mario 1000 Year Door playthrough as well. I don't know if this is still the case in the Switch remake, but in the GameCube original, there was not a single scene in the entire game that doesn't run without Peach, Bowser, or Mario somewhere on screen. Well, maybe not on screen, but somewhere in the game's cutscene. Even on scenes where none of those three characters show up, because they're stored off screen so the game can keep running. I hope they change that in the Switch remake, but that's how it was in the GameCube original. You see that all the time in these games too. Explaining why that animation of Ivy Congeal rock type that we just used went into the ground like that. Pretty neat, huh? As I mentioned in my most recent unused content videos, I know things. Or unused content in games, I know things, man. I know things. I'm cultured, I've studied up a few things. I may be a bear who's never learned how to read or stutters a lot, but I know things. That'd be pretty cool. Neat idea. Yeah, I wholeheartedly understand that as well. I wish more people saw that there. But most people don't really see that. But I already mentioned the criticisms of it. Alright, second, let's see, you want to. There you go. Imagine getting tossed all around the planet. Holy shit. That would not feel good. Like, imagine somebody just throws you so hard you end up flying around the planet. You realize how strong you have to be to do that? God damn. Like, maybe from a gameplay standpoint, Seismic Toss doesn't seem that dangerous, but from a canonical standpoint, and like a power scaling standpoint, that shit is probably one of the most broken Pokemon moves of all time. Even more broken than most Z moves, honestly. Than most Max moves. If you really think about it. Like, imagine somebody just tossing you to another planet. Nuh-uh, bro. Makes sense, makes sense. I'd want to make my sisters happy as well. Shoutouts to them. And the brothers, too. And the nieces and nephews, the cousins, whatever. Yeah, I like how they changed the way her sisters looked in the anime, where they actually gave them unique 2D designs that are just smaller versions of Lannis, but yeah. I wish they did that in the games instead of just giving them the preschooler designs. I mean, Mallow's family had a more unique look as well. Same with Kiawe, actually. Kiawe doesn't have a sister in the game, at least not to my knowledge, but she has one in the anime. And damn, is his mother. You could tell somebody in the Pokemon team has a thing for hot moms, like, seriously. And Kiawe's mother is another kind of a point towards that, let's just say. But yeah, Mallow and Kiawe also have unique... Or their families also have unique designs in the anime, too, that I wish they had in the games. I don't think we ever see any of Mallow or Kiawe's family members in the games, though, unlike Lana's family members. Same with Lana's mother, actually. She has a unique model in the game, or in the anime that she doesn't have in the game. Yeah, I don't think any of the other notable little trainers had that, at least to my knowledge. I mean, Lily's got her butler that we don't see in the game, so I guess that counts too? I don't know. That was quite kind of DS. And she could cook well. You know what's kind of funny? I mean, I feel like most Japanese franchises have this, and you see it all the time in Tales of as well. There's a lot of female characters in that franchise who just can't cook for their goddamn life. But I think Mallow was the first female, permanent female companion to Ash that was actually decent at cooking and not kind of like Pokepuffs with Dawn or the Pokepuffs with Serena. Well, actually, let me rephrase my statement a little bit. I think this is the case because with Misty and May, they sucked at cooking, like, really bad at it. But Serena and Dawn and Iris, I don't think we've ever seen them, like, cook human food. We've seen 2 of the 3 of them cook Pokemon-based food, but not human food. So we don't know if they're all that good or bad at cooking. And I think Mallow's the first one that's confirmed to actually be good at cooking human food, not just Pokemon-based stuff. Instead of the typical male character that's really good at cooking, you know, Brock, Silent, and Clement. So it's a nice little change of pace. In fact, Tales of kind of does something like that, too. As I mentioned, Kisara, one of the female characters in Tales of Rise, she's the cook of the group in that game. But then you got cooks like Rain from Tales of Sophania, who sucks ass at cooking, while her brother Genus, who's much younger than her, and another party member of that game, Regal, both of them are really good at cooking. And same with Archer, the half-elf in Tales of Fantasia. She sucks ass at cooking. Something like that. Eggman wins against Chorus again. I'll say Eggman versus Neo Dr. Cortex from Crash Bandicoot, I think is a better matchup. Not counting Wily or the big man Bowser, but yeah. Eggman's got a lot of pretty decent matchups. That could be a better matchup for Chorus that's a little more fair for him. Now Ghetsis, I've seen people match up Ghetsis against a certain Fire Emblem character, I forgot the guy's name, but yeah. Or losing me against what's-her-face from Lady Rangio from Kill la Kill. That's a decent matchup, I'd say. I won't lose me to win that, I don't care. I'm fighting Terrifying, right? Don't know why I keep forgetting that. Alright. Just avoiding a certain box, because I don't want people to see what I'm using. For the tiny mint. Gotta be my... Actually... If you don't count the Grand Challenge, that'll be my first tournament. Wish me luck, y'all, even though I won't need luck. The power of skill and infinite potential and preparation will do just fine. If Wolfie VGC has his World Champ difference, I have my infinite potential, not just in Pokemon, but in any game I play or anything I do, period. That's what I like to call for myself. I've been saying that since, like, high school. Even mentioned that at some previous jobs I had. Speaking of Kill la Kill, earlier this month, actually bought this Kill la Kill game over here. Got it for less than $2. Pretty neat fighting game that's very similar to a Pokémon tournament. Too bad there's not a lot of characters. Oh, for me, it's still, For where I live, it's still May, but yeah, for where you live, it is June, so happy early birthday to you. Alright, happy birthday to you, mate. Get some special things. After the tournament, I think I shall do that. I just want to prioritize the tournament before anything else. That's all. If you don't mind me. And the rock's falling into the ground again. That we're not supposed to see. Oh, oops, I misunderstood your comment. Alright, so happy early birthday. So I got some time to get you praising. Alright, how many more of these raids do I have left? And I'm going to end it off with the Garchomp one. Alright, Tera Norman, Tera Dragon. Let's get that body out of here. Get out of here. Hasta la vista, you loser. I think those are my only blister raids. Might as well do them real fast. Gotta restock on my gems after this training session anyways. You know what's inconceivable? Those friggin' bots constantly showing up. That's what's inconceivable. I guess we'll start off with Tera Norman first. I guess I should have caught a Mudbray for the challenge, but yeah, I don't plan on using Mudsdale, sadly. Alright, the return of Arcalidian. In some ways, it does feel like Kingdom Hearts when he likes darkness and making new worlds and stuff. He'd probably be real good friends with Xemnas or Xehanort. I'll cover the world with, or I'll cover your heart with darkness. Stop it, just stop! Can't take that line delivery seriously. I call upon the moon's pale lights. Stop it, just stop! Yeah, I need to play more Kingdom Hearts. I already have every single game on my PS4. Except for Memory of Melody. I was considering buying that last year, but I changed my mind. I didn't like how the gameplay looked. But yeah, other than that, I pretty much have every other Kingdom Hearts game. That includes the GBA version of Chain of Memories, and... oh yeah, I never bought the Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC, though. Remind, so I guess that doesn't... I guess I don't have that either, but well, I'm pretty much have every Kingdom Hearts game. Still remember buying that whole Kingdom Hearts collection on PS4 back in 2021 for only $25. Actually a pretty good steal, I'd say, when it normally was $100. And before the collection was out on Switch too, and before Sora was in Smash Bros. As well, so that's funny. It was also before I started working. I'm already plus 6, being stupid. Oh, whatever, not like it's that much of a punishment. And you're dead. Or not quite, but you're very close. And now you're done. You're done, son. Yeah, it does sound very grandiose, especially the dentist part. Excuse me, gets this part, I mean. Gets. It still sounds more like it could just be because of the DS sound font, but it sounds more like they're saying Dennis. I mean, his remix in Ultra Sun Ultra Moon definitely sounds more like they're saying Getsus, though. And when we do get the inevitable black and white remake, hopefully they make that a little better too. Hopefully that remake doesn't turn out like some other purple remake, but I've said that enough times. Z isn't real. Bella droning. Alright, now you'll die. And down you go. Enough of that. We don't need that no more. And now Tera grounding. Get out of my way, Fletchling. I don't have time for this. Hey, you know what he says? I won't allow anyone to stop me no matter who does what. And yet people still were able to stop him. So, okay. Whatever you say gets this boy. Oh, time reset, I didn't get an Intimidator. And I forgot to mention how much Gets' team actually counters N's team, but I'll bring that up in a future Nuzlocke episode. Especially as how Dragon 11 can take down N's entire team. Still no Intimidator. Alright about that one as well. They gave the other 7 stages more recognizable designs, especially Zinzolin. Did I bring that up? I don't know. I might have forgotten about it. Actually, yeah, I think I do remember bringing up Hydrogon's moveset, though. It's funny if he doesn't have a dark type move on it, but whatever. For some reason I couldn't get Dark Pulse via level up. Why? Whatever. Back in Gen 5. I ended up getting any, you know what? I'll try to get some people online to do this instead. I did mention that? Alright, I guess I forgot. That's all. Never mind what I said before. Short-term memory loss. Short-term memory is harder to remember than long-term memory, I'm just saying. I brought that up in a fun stuff episode, not in the Nuzlocke episode itself. I mean, you do fight him, but not in the end of the game. It was nice to find him before and beat his ass. Still not an ideal team matchup. I don't like this. Let's see if am I able to run away? Probably not. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was trying to get people to join in, but nobody joined. In the game or in the anime? Yeah, Dragon types are very powerful. That's part of the reason fairy types are introduced. Yeah, it makes sense. I see the reason for that. Gotta take their eye into account, the team into account, all that stuff. We're alive, but we're barely breathing. That's correct. I mean, that's merely just a theory. I don't think that's ever confirmed, but it'd be really nice. Alright, I was able to survive a +2 before, so I should be able to survive this just fine. I just don't high roll if I'm asking. Oh, we alive! God damn. And we hit the leaf storm good. I taunt you because we do not want you getting that move off. I really wish the Sylveon would use Charm again, that'd be nice. Can't use Storage Stance, heh. I see, you're neutral, Nerf Star +2. Why won't you use... Come on, Sylveon, use your attack. What are you doing? I don't think that's enough. Fully parried. Ah, blast it all. There's still a chance, I think. At least got the shield down. This is why Intimidate's better than Charm. Specifically Platinum, I would actually argue her Diamond and Pearl team is better because it's higher level than all that. Wait for Sylveon to come in. It'd be really nice if you use Charm, Sylveon. It'd be really cool. Wait a minute, you have liquidation? Since when? I've never seen that. Whatever, just gonna let it lose. I didn't know it had liquidation, I'll be honest. I'll too late for that. You honestly couldn't use Bear before. Yeah, it has more type diversity, yeah, but her team in Platinum's higher leveled. Or in Diamond and Pearl's higher leveled. I'm alive, but I'm barely breathing. There's still a small chance. Can you just use Charm? Alright, come on, there's a chance. You can do it. Yes, we're full HP. Ha, you motherfucker. Alright, Earthquake, that's fine. Come on, hurry it up, get your animation done. Yeah, this takes forever, come on. That has to be a kill, right? Yep, alright, we're good. No need for Intimidate. Who needs Intimidate? We don't need that. We don't need Terra Estalization either. I mean, we kind of did. But not to finish it. Ah, whatever. Yeah, this Garchomp has Jolly Nature, that's why it's able to outspeed. If it didn't have Jolly Nature, we'd be outspeeding it naturally. Well, I think that should do it. I'm going to the mountains to go sell a few things. Yeah, I like how that's how Leon's team works. Depending on which starter you choose, he chooses a starter strong to yours. Plus, there's at least 2 other teammates that change on his team. Actually, no, one other teammate on his team that changes. Because the starter he chooses is the one strong as your starter, and the Pokemon that he has on his team over anything else he's using. Because normally, no matter which team he has, he'll always have Dragapult, Aegislash, Haxorus, and who am I forgetting? And it's Charizard. But he'll use the starter strong to yours, and then his other Pokemon will be a Pokemon that your team member, or the starter that you chose, will have a good time against. So if you chose Rillaboom, he'll have Seismitoad or something, if I remember correctly. If you chose Inteleon, he'll use Rhyperior. And if you chose Cinderace, he'll have Mr. Rime. Which is pretty cool, I think. Though I think his Inteleon team is probably the best one, right? Because that team has the most type diversity. His Cinderace team, though, having 2 fire types on it and 2 dragon types, I don't know. Seems a little off. Yeah, the starter and the Pokemon that uses that your starter has a good time against, as I just mentioned. I did a bit of Gotcha Machine off screen as well. So I'm gonna sell a few extra things there. Yeah, his team has very good coverage, but for some reason his Dragapult has Dragon Breath and not Dragon Pulse. It's weird. And it's special attacker rather than a physical attacker, despite Dragapult's higher physical attack stat. Strongest unbeatable champion my ass if you're not even using your Pokemon correctly. I mean, if you want to run as a special attacker, I guess, but its physical attack is better, and you already have plenty of physical attackers, but what is? Or you already have plenty of special attackers, I mean. Arceus Champion theme was awesome. I remember listening to that all the time in high school. Should have listened to it more back in middle school, though. Don't need that many scope lenses. Well, lucky eggs are kind of worthless now, not gonna lie. I know it can do either, but its physical attack stat is higher. Plus, Dragon Dart is just such a cool move. Heck, my Terra Water Dragapult is a special attacker, but even then, I just think physical fights better. Especially since you use Clearer Body, you don't have to worry about Intimidate. I guess that's all I'm selling. That will do it. Alrighty then, and I think it's time for us to do a little outro. Alright, Superior, stand still. Oh, look at that. Look at you. Being a good girl. You're a female, right? You're male. Being a good boy, I mean. But anyways. Leaving time, and I think that will be it for this edition of the Pokemon Violet Fun Stuff video. Too bad I had to cut this one a little short, but that's alright. Got a tournament at 7-4. So if y'all enjoyed this and you want to see more, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and follow. Hit with a big screen now. And that bell button, if you're on YouTube. And that bell button for more. I'm going to give a special thank you to Aaron for joining me once again for this wonderful video, as well as PS Man for joining me today. And that Joey person, I forgot his name. Thank you for joining us today as well. And consider becoming a YouTube member as a subscriber for $3 a month and $6 a month. For respectively for wonderful bonuses such as an ad-free experience. And consider answering the question in the link in the description below. I don't know, I'll think of a question of the day. Draco Meteor, yeah it does. That's only in the post-game stuff though. And yes, and consider hitting the link right over here for those of you on Twitch for Honkai Star Rail to get some neat bonuses and rewards if you click the link, and you also support the channel that way. So without further ado, I'm going to go set up for my tournament, and we'll be back in just a few hours. But before we do that, for those of you on Twitch, let's end this off with a quick raid. And I think we should raid someone new today. Let's see who else happens to be playing Scarlet and Violet versus Pokemon, period. And today we have Sarcastic Jacob. Or Waldermutt. I was about to do somebody new today, and then when I do the tournament later, you can choose the raid. How's that sound? Alright, let's raid Sarcastic Jacob. Send him your unwavering love and support. He apparently has just gotten 1.2k followers, so help him with his little celebration. Alright, thank y'all for watching. Have a terrific day.